Centuries before cybersecurity, statesmen around the world communicated with their own elaborate codes and ciphers. As a youth in the Virginia colony, Thomas Jefferson encrypted letters to a confidant about the woman he loved. While serving as the third president of the newly formed United States, he tried to institute an impossibly difficult cipher for communications about the Louisiana Purchase. He even designed an intricate mechanical system for coding text that was more than a century ahead of its time. Cryptography wasn't just a pastime for the curious, it was a vital tool for Revolutionary-era statesmen. Much like today's politicians and intelligence agencies rely on secure apps like what's AP, Signal, or encrypted keys, leaders of that time depended on codes and ciphers to protect their communications. Using letter rearrangements, number substitutions, and other now old-fashioned methods, they ensured sensitive messages stayed out of the wrong hands. As the revolution began, Americans faced a major disadvantage in the realm of cryptography compared to European powers, many of which had operated Black Chamber's secret government offices dedicated to intercepting and decoding sensitive correspondence for centuries. It wasn't unusual for the messages of revolutionary leaders and later American diplomats in Europe to be intercepted and read by enemies both at home and abroad. Thomas Jefferson is often considered the father of American cryptography, thanks in part to his invention of the wheel cipher, also known as the Jefferson disk cipher or scroll cipher. A visionary in both politics and science, Jefferson recognized the critical need for secure communication in a young, vulnerable nation. His cipher device, designed in the 1790s, consisted of a set of rotating disks, typically 36 each, inscribed with the letters of the alphabet in a random order around the edge. These disks were mounted on an axle and could be rotated independently. To encode a message, the user would align the disks to spell out the plaintext on one row, then choose a different row of letters as the ciphertext to send. The recipient, using an identical set of disks arranged in the same order, could reverse the process to decrypt the message. Though the device was never widely adopted in Jefferson's time, its principles resurfaced in military encryption over a century later, proving Jefferson was well ahead of his time in the art of secure communication. In May 18, 2004, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark embarked on a daring journey into the vast, uncharted lands of the Louisiana Territory far from home, and even farther from help. Before them stretched endless prairies, rugged mountain ranges, unknown rivers, and countless potential dangers. Their mission, as leaders of the Corps of Discovery, was ambitious: to cross the continent, establish contact with native tribes, record new plant and animal species, and above all, search for a navigable water route to the Pacific Ocean. President Thomas Jefferson, who commissioned the expedition, understood that regular communication with the team would be impossible. Still, he held out hope that traders or native messengers might occasionally carry updates back to Washington. Some of those reports, Jefferson reasoned, could contain sensitive information that needed protection. A lifelong enthusiast of codes and encryption, Jefferson created a special cipher for Lewis to use during the journey. Any message encoded with it would be unintelligible to anyone but the president and his trusted explorer.
Avail yourself of these means to communicate to us. At seasonable intervals, a copy of your journal notes observations of every kind. Jefferson instructed Lewis in a letter dated June 20, 1803, putting into cipher whatever might do injury if betrayed.
Two versions of Jefferson's handwritten cipher still exist today in the Library of Congress's Manuscript Division. The encryption system relied on grids filled with letters, numbers, and symbols designed to securely conceal important details of the expedition from prying eyes. Though Thomas Jefferson's wheel cipher wasn't widely used during his lifetime, its design found new life over a century later. In the early 20th century, the U.S. Army adopted a very similar device called the M94 cipher machine, which was used from 1922 through World War II, The M94 functioned on nearly the same principles as Jefferson's original design, using a series of rotating disks, each stamped with scrambled alphabets that could be rearranged to form different encryption keys. It proved to be a reliable and secure tool for field communications before the age of digital encryption. The security of the cipher depended on two things: the physical possession of an identical set of disks and knowledge of the correct order in which to arrange them. That arrangement of disks, essentially the key, was typically determined ahead of time and distributed through secure channels, often printed in codebooks shared only among trusted personnel. Both the sender and recipient had to set their disks in the same sequence. Once aligned, the plaintext message would be set across one row, and the ciphertext would be taken from another predetermined row. To decode it, the recipient would reverse the process using the same disk order. This method offered strong encryption for its time, especially since the key the disk order could be changed regularly to prevent code breaking. Jefferson's idea proved so effective that it helped lay the groundwork for more advanced mechanical and electronic encryption systems that followed. In the Da Vinci Code, the scroll cipher takes center stage as one of the key puzzle elements, specifically in the form of a cryptex, a fictional device inspired by real-world scroll or wheel ciphers like Jefferson's. The cryptex is a cylindrical container with a hidden message inside, protected by a rotating alphabet-based combination lock. Only by aligning the correct password can the device be opened without damaging the contents. If forced open, a vial of vinegar inside is designed to break and dissolve the encoded message, destroying the secret forever. This concept draws from the same principles as a scroll or wheel cipher, using aligned letters or symbols to encode and decode hidden messages. In the story, the cryptex becomes a symbol of secrecy, ingenuity, and the stakes of unlocking ancient knowledge. Its use ties into the themes of cryptography, historical intrigue, and the layered puzzles that define the mystery. While the cryptex itself is a fictional creation, it's rooted in the logic of real mechanical ciphers and adds a tangible, high-stakes twist to the idea of protecting sensitive information. From the hands of founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson to the pages of modern thrillers like the Da Vinci Code, scroll ciphers have captivated minds with their blend of logic, secrecy, and intrigue. Whether used to protect diplomatic messages during times of revolution or to unlock hidden clues in treasure hunts and fiction, these devices remind us that the art of encryption is as much about creativity as it is control, about security. Their enduring appeal lies not only in their historical roots, but in their continued ability to spark curiosity, challenge the mind, and bring a sense of adventure to the search for hidden truths.